Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a loaded episode because guess what, guys? The Hawks made a trade, as I'm sure you all know, and the NBA draft is tonight. So much going on and so much to cover. So late last night, we got the news, and it is massive. Kristaps Porzingis, the all-star NBA champion big man from Boston, is heading to Atlanta. That's right, the former Celtics big man is now a Hawk after a complex three-team deal that also includes the Boston Celtics and Brooklyn Nets. In this video, we're going to be breaking down that trade and really everything that comes with it, what it means for the Hawks next season and beyond, what to expect in tonight's NBA draft, and I'm going to break down some of my favorite prospects that the Hawks should select at 13, and how this deal really affects Atlanta's future flexibility. So buckle up. Things are heating up in Atlanta and really in the NBA, but with the Hawks in the midst of it, which is great and it's awesome. It's something we haven't really experienced so far in this Trae Young era, but we're in the thick of it, and it's just getting started. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this trade. So according to ESPN's Shams Charania, the Atlanta Hawks, Boston Celtics, and Brooklyn Nets have agreed to a three-team trade. So here's how the deal breaks down. So Atlanta is going to be receiving Kristaps Porzingis and a 2026 second-round pick. Brooklyn is going to be receiving Terrence Mann and Atlanta's number 22 overall pick in the draft tonight. And then Boston is going to be receiving Georges Niang and a second-rounder. It's Cleveland's 2031 second-round pick, the one that Atlanta previously held and retrieved from Cleveland at the trade deadline in the Georges Niang Caris LeVert deal. So this move comes days after Anzi Saleh officially took over as general manager. And yesterday he met with the media for the first time and got to work quickly after that, after he was asked about size. And it's funny that literally right after, 24 hours later, he makes a trade for a big man who was an all-star 7-footer who's a stretch big who's going to fit perfectly with the rest of this core. I personally couldn't be more excited about this move, and I'm excited to know you guys' thoughts. So, and if fans were waiting for a signal that this front office is going to be aggressive, I mean, this is it. Porzingis is that guy who's coming off of 2 great seasons in Boston. While he didn't play much last year, he was a crucial component to their championship team a couple of years ago. And he still played great ball while he was healthy this last season. However, that didn't come much. But I mean, he did in both seasons with Boston average over 19 points a game at the center position. This is awesome for Atlanta, guys. That center rotation with Porzingis and Okongwu next year is going to be lit. He shot a career best 41.2% from 3 last season and provided the Celtics with strong rim protection when he was healthy. Assuming he has recovered from the illness that kept him in and out of Boston's playoff rotation and rotation really just in general. He'll be a major asset in Atlanta's frontcourt rotation, alongside Jalen Johnson and Yeka Okongwu and last year's number 1 overall pick, Zachary Rizashay. And now back on the illness that, I was talking about just a second ago, he did say that he is fully healthy and he is good to go and that he's ready to play for his national team this summer. So Porzingis is going to be in good health going into next season, obviously bearing a injury overseas. So that's not something we should really worry about. I mean, obviously he has his career health concerns and maybe into the season that's something the Hawks should worry about, but he is good right now and should be good to go if the season were to start today. So what the Hawks are adding is size, shooting, playoff, and vet experience, literally everything that they need, and it's something that the team has lacked in recent years. So once again, I couldn't be more over the moon about this. I mean, obviously, getting rid of 22 is a bit of a little bit of a letdown, but I mean, when it comes at the price of bringing in a guy like Porzingis to this already solidified core, it's great. It's awesome, and I can't wait to hear you guys' thoughts. So now I'm going to talk about what this trade really means for the future of the Hawks. Well, I mean, first off, Kristaps Porzingis is on an expiring $30 million deal. Now, while that is a lot of money, like I said, it's expiring. So this gives the Hawks options going into next summer, obviously depending on how Porzingis plays this upcoming season in his new home, Atlanta. So they can extend him if he fits well. I mean, they will have his bird rights, or they could let him walk and create flexibility. They're in a good position because of this. I mean, in contrast, Terrence Mann, who is now heading to Brooklyn, did have $15.5 million locked in for each of the next 3 seasons. That is long-term salary that would have been tied up to Atlanta, which is now officially off the books. And you can argue that it was just a net negative salary to have. So it's good to get off of that in general. And then even if Porzingis walks next offseason, the Hawks are going to have a lot of cap space next offseason, and it's going to be great. This team couldn't be in a better position right now. It's also worth noting that, I mean, obviously Trae Young has his extension, and then obviously player option coming up, and Dyson Daniels, last year's NBA Most Improved Player, is obviously up for an extension as well this offseason. So I mean, this move really does help keep cap space open to maneuver as needed, and it's something that Atlanta has been needing. It's a win now trade that also preserves the future window. That's rare. That's really rare and tough to do in today's NBA. It is also worth noting that this trade does open up a roster spot, obviously with two guys going out and one guy coming in. So that also gives Atlanta more immediate flexibility to make whatever moves they want to make. And remember, the Hawks kept their $25 million trade exception in this deal, the one that we've been talking about for several weeks now. That is absolutely huge. I mean, they can still add another impact piece, really good rotation player without sending out matching salary. I mean, this team is a team who is far from done making moves. Expect over the next 24 hours for the discussions to still be there when we're talking about a trade. This team could literally do anything, and we're going to talk about that a little more later. But for now, we're going to talk about how the NBA draft that is tonight. The Hawks' strategy may have gotten changed a little bit, obviously because the number 22 pick is heading to Brooklyn. And so now the Hawks only hold the 13th overall pick in tonight's NBA draft. And so this absolutely does change things because, I mean, for this past month, we really have been talking about, some specific candidates for 22. I mean, we've been covering 13, probably more, but we have been going deep into, what the Hawks could potentially do with 22, whether they kept it or traded it. They ended up trading it. So, I mean, things are different now. I mean, the trade for Porzingis signals a win now shift, at least partially. So, like I said in my article last night, don't expect Atlanta to draft another teenager like last year. I mean, they obviously could. I'm not the GM. They very well could go that route, but it looks like they want contributors now. I mean, they don't expect Atlanta to draft another teenager like last year. That was the right move at the time. I mean, it absolutely was. They got the best player they thought was the best player in the draft, Zach Langley at number 1 overall. And I believe he did have the best rookie season. So the potential is obviously there for Zach to be the best player from that draft class going down the line. And he's already looking like a star in the making, but it's time to prioritize NBA-ready talent, if I had to say. So my number one guy for 13, and I've said this, a player like Cedric Coward, a high IQ, two-way wing who can defend and hit spot-up threes, now becomes a much more realistic target at 13 because of obviously Atlanta's big rotation and how, if they draft a rookie center and then if Porzingis stays healthy, then that rookie's not going to get a lot of play time. So I think drafting a wing here is probably the move, and a guy like Coward can immediately come in and contribute and could be a good system fit pretty quickly. So the door, however, isn't closed on someone like Kaman Maluach. While it makes it a little more unlikely, the Hawks still have a ton of interest in him. He is a 7-footer with raw upside and great shot blocking instincts and is a great interior presence. I mean, yes, the front court would be very crowded, but that's not a bad thing considering Atlanta's been lacking size and depth in the front court for years, especially in the Trae Young era. It wouldn't be crazy to double down. It really wouldn't be crazy, and it's something that I think they should really consider going into this draft. If they find that Kaman Maluach is the best player available, which is what Anzi Saleh was preaching in his first media availability as GM, then take him by all means. Having 2 7-footers behind Onyeka Okongwu is not a bad problem to have. We're in a good position right now, folks. I mean, I'm going to be saying that over and over again. I mean, the key is really that this trade didn't shorten the Hawks' success window. I mean, it expanded it, really, because we can really contend now, but also contend in the future because we will have so much cap flexibility in next offseason if Porzingis doesn't re-sign and just walks. I mean, the right pick at 13 could really solidify this team's core for years to come. So it's important that they hit right at 13 and don't draft a bust. So drafting an NBA-ready guy like Cedric Coward, my number one prospect at 13, could be the move. So now we're going to move on. And let's not forget, Atlanta still holds that $25 million trade exception. obviously the highest in the league, an extremely valuable asset that the Hawks shouldn't take for granted, and I don't think they will. I mean, Shams actually reported yesterday that they were very likely going to use it, and then this trade for Porzingis didn't use it because he obviously exceeded that trade exception. So, according to Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, the Hawks are expected to stay active, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker has emerged as a potential target for them to bring in, maybe in a sign-in trade. The 6'6" combo guard has developed into a dependable rotation player with defensive chops and underrated passing skills, just playmaking skills in general. Other names that have maybe surfaced as guys that Atlanta could bring in with that trade player exception: Cam Johnson, the 18-point per game scorer in Brooklyn, who's a high-volume, efficient three-point shooter who really contributes on both ends of the floor and would be a great fit in Atlanta, either starting or off the bench. I mean, Dillon Brooks, who we talked about yesterday, a defensive-minded wing who could add some grit and, some real tenacity in the second unit and could obviously step in to a starting role if anyone were to go down and would be a great veteran leader for guys like Zachary Rizashea, Jalen Johnson, and he would, defend Trae Young with his life. So, obviously they would want to bring in a guy like Brooks, and that's someone who I think they should really consider. Lonzo Ball, maybe. That's a kind of a gamble, but he'd be someone who'd be cheap to bring in, and his contract isn't too bad, so if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But if he's healthy, he can be an elite facilitator off the bench and add some good defense. He's got great size for a point guard, so that's something that they should obviously consider. This roster is not complete yet. With one big trade already done, unexpected, might I add. We didn't really talk about Porzingis other than maybe in one video just earlier. So, and the valuable exception still in hand. Don't be surprised if the Hawks pull off another move, maybe even before tonight's draft ends. Be on the lookout. Follow me on Twitter, Langley8TL. I'm going to have all the updates for you. Anything that happens, it'll be right there, so make sure you follow. So Atlanta's making moves. Porzingis is a Hawk, or going to be soon. The trade hasn't finalized, but they are in the process of finalizing it. The draft is tonight, guys. The thing that we have been talking about for this entire month of this channel being around, the draft is tonight. It's a big night. I'm going to be, updating you all on all of it, so thank you guys for tuning in. This front office led by Anzi Soleil is showing that they're not afraid to shake things up and make some moves when needed. This is a different Hawks team, and honestly, it's really exciting. So make sure you're subscribed to Hawks Latest and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update. We're going to be pumping out videos every single day. It's going to look a little different now considering the draft will be over. Obviously we got the second round the next day, but the Hawks don't have a second round pick. But we're still going to be pumping out updates, and you guys will be informed, I promise. Make sure you're subscribed. Like I said, hit that notification bell. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, go Hawks, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.